So in the lead up to Højlund's first goal, we see United in that 3-2 setup at the base of Amorim's possession shape, with Bodø Glimt sitting off in an incredibly horizontally and vertically compact defensive shape. Bruno Fernandes in this deeper role is able to receive the ball from De Ligt in front of the Bodø Glimt forward line, get the ball out of his feet and then ping a pass over to Malacia, who's sitting high and wide on the left flank as a part of the front five. Now when Malacia controls the ball and gets it out of his feet, this is where we do see the limitations of him being used as a left wing back, as his output in the final third has never been his strong point, and it's a pretty lacklustre cross into the box, not even beating the first man. But United regroup and Bruno Fernandes, once again in that deeper role, is able to get on the ball on that left side, and you can see the coordinated patterns of play developing amongst the United front five, as Højlund looks to drop off to receive the ball to feet, whilst Mason Mount is looking to make a similar sort of run to the one we saw James Maddison make for his opening goal against Manchester City, looking to break between the defenders in the back line from that half space area. But Fernandes doesn't take up either opportunity and instead showcases his long passing ability with another pinpoint switch of play out to Antony on the right side, who controls the pass immaculately. And from here, I think Antony needs to develop his ability to wrong foot the defender before bursting down the outside, as I think if Ahmad is in this position, we see him drive down the outside and get into a crossing position, or at the very least force the fullback to commit and get to the byline. But instead Antony is looking for the pass infield to Mason Mount, which isn't a terrible option, and the flip-flap is probably the right type of pass to try, but he's so predictable that the passing lane is easily closed off and Antony loses possession. But this is where we see Amorim's counter-press come into play. But before I break down why it was so effective for this goal, if you're a fan of retro jerseys, go over to Jersey FIFA. They've got a variety of different club and international retro jerseys, as well as the new season jerseys as well. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll get a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. So we can see here with Mason Mount, Antony, Mazraoui and Agate all on that side, Amorim has 4 players who have the tenacity, energy and work rate to instantly snap into counter-pressing mode, with Mount showing exactly why Amorim loves him so much, covering the ground quickly to get over to that side. And now you can see that with all 4 of the Manchester United players on that side swarming over to the ball, the space in Bodø Glimt's left-sided channel is closed off. But this is also where we see why Agate has to start over Casemiro, as Mason Mount and Antony stop the pass down the line and get goal side, with Mazraoui also aggressively pushing up the flank. The pass infield to the player on the corner of the box is probably the only real passing option. However, look how quickly Agate is able to read the game, as before the pass is even made, he's already pushed up to reduce the space between himself and that Bodø Glimt player. And so when the pass is played, rather than Agate having held a deeper position and starting his press maybe 10 yards off the player, because of his front foot mentality and reading of the game, he's able to be within a few yards of the player as the pass is about to be played, and he's able to jump in front and make one of his trademark interceptions, winning the ball back in the final third and now being able to drive into a crossing position inside of the box. But his end product is rather predictable, but to be fair he didn't have too many options. But from here we see how it's not just Agate with this front foot mentality, but Amorim's counter-pressing system as a whole, encouraged by his incredibly high rest defence position, means that Mazraoui, like Agate, is already anticipating where the next pass will go. And as the pass is played, Mazraoui is quick to read it and cover the ground, getting in front of the Bodø Glimt forward to make the interception. But what you can also see is that Amorim is encouraging his back three to retain these very high positions, basically on the edge of the final third, with De Ligt very tight to the forward to stop him being able to turn, even if he did receive the ball to feet. After Mazraoui makes the interception, he produces an elegant reverse step over to send the oncoming pressers the wrong way, before gliding past the next player coming from his right side, with what almost looks to be one touch with the effect of 2, as the ball sticks to his foot like velcro, which allows him to get into the crossing position. And as Mazraoui is about to deliver the cross, you can see that United have committed 3 players forward into the box, but it's Højlund who is found by Mazraoui's shallow cross, reaching him on the penalty spot, from where Højlund controls the ball with a flick up on his left, before with the next touch hooking the ball into the far bottom corner with his right. And so overall this goal showcases that Bruno Fernandes could potentially undergo the Calhanoglu transition from an attacking midfielder to a deeper lying creator that we have seen Inzaghi perform at Inter Milan, at least against certain opposition, specifically those that sit deep and compress the space between the lines that ideally Bruno Fernandes would operate in. Whilst this goal also highlighted how important Ugarte is in Amorim's midfield for these type of counter-pressing situations, as when it comes to winning the ball high up the pitch, through his reading of the game, anticipation, tenacity and energy, he is levels above what Casemiro can offer, whilst players like Mason Mount, Mazraoui, De Ligt and even Antony all have the necessary attributes to thrive in a counter-pressing system. But we can also see the benefit of a manager being brave and pushing the rest defence high up the pitch, as whilst this can leave individual players vulnerable, which I'll come on to in just a bit. The benefit is that your counter press is a lot more vertically compact, players are closer to the ball than opposition players, which then enables players like Mazraoui and Ugarte to win the ball back high up the pitch as they did for this goal. Now before I show you the downside of this pressing tactic, a quick reminder I do have a Patreon where you can sign up for an in-game Instagram analysis group chat. We had some interesting discussions during this Europa League game, and when I get round to doing a Q&A I will be answering questions from patrons in the Instagram group chat, so if you do want to sign up I'll leave it linked in all the usual places. So there is a benefit and a cost to every type of tactic, and with this aggressive front foot positioning that Amorim was deploying in this game, you are going to have to leave your back line 1v1 high up the pitch with a lot of space to cover, and we saw what can go wrong with both Bodø Glimt's goals, but particularly the second one. So we can see here United are pressing high, Bodø Glimt are forced long, and you can see that Lisandro Martinez has pushed up from the defensive line in order to man-to-man press the player on Bodø Glimt's right-sided channel, with Ugarte doing the same in the centre. And so this gives United that familiar 3-2 shape at the base of their pressing system. But as I've said in previous videos, if Lisandro Martinez does have a weakness, it is when he's pushed up into that left-sided channel and he's got a lot of space in behind him to defend. And so it appears Amorim wants him to push up into the midfield alongside Ugarte, with Bruno Fernandes pushed up ahead, with Malacia given the responsibility of sitting deeper and defending that left-sided channel. And on paper this would make sense, as Malacia definitely has more turning pace than Martinez, and you'd probably also say he's a better recovery tackler as well. And whilst I do think this is necessary in order to maintain the vertical compactness in the man-to-man press, and Amorim probably was right to take this risk to leave Mazraoui, De Ligt and Malacia 1v1 on the halfway line, when the ball does go long down United's left side, Malacia just looks sluggish, having to turn and run back towards his own goal, but getting outrun, and Zinchenko was able to race past him into the box and bury it through the legs of Onana. And I think this goal does show how important it is for players in Amorim's back three during this phase of play to be able to defend in space, high up the pitch and against quick attacking players. And we also saw this to a lesser degree for the first goal that United conceded. So once again Lisandro Martinez has pushed up alongside Ugarte, allowing Bruno Fernandes to push on to the deeper lying midfielder in the final third. And once again the ball goes long down United's left side, and whilst Malacia does deal with it better than he dealt with the first, he's still not very convincing. De Ligt ends up clearing it, but as Bodø Glimt retain possession in the centre circle, you can see as this pass is going out to the number 23, that because every other United player apart from Mazraoui is close to their man, when the pass goes into the number 23, Mazraoui does feel the need to push out from the back line, and I guess you could say that he's at fault for this because he does leave that space, but in the system that Amorim wants to play, you have to allow him to push out and apply pressure to his man, and you can see here Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Ugarte, De Ligt and even Bruno Fernandes ahead, they are all within a few yards of their man. But in this example, Ugarte doesn't react quick enough to cover the space behind Mazraoui, and with that space opening up, De Ligt also gets drawn over slightly to that side, which opens up the passing lane into the centre forward, and as that pass is played, Ugarte just doesn't react quick enough to the player running off his back, and so when the pass does go into the centre forward's feet, because Ugarte's reacted just a second too late, his man is able to run off of him and receive the ball inside of the box, but to be fair, Ugarte does well to get round on the cover and get goal side. But because Bruno Fernandes has been instructed to push further forward from the double pivot, and Lisandro Martinez has dropped back from alongside Ugarte into the back line, there is a man free, and Bruno Fernandes doesn't really have the athleticism to be able to cover the ground quickly enough to get back alongside Martinez's man. And it's not really a fault with Bruno Fernandes' work rate, more with his athleticism, and it is a downside to using him in that midfield double pivot. And so this leaves a player free on the edge of the box, a ball gets squared to him, and to be fair, it's a fantastic finish. It's not as though it's a clear-cut chance, sometimes you do have to accept that you are going to concede these type of chances, and if the opposition can rattle it into the top corner as they've done here, you kind of have to hold up your hands. And so in these examples which I've broken down, I think you can see the clear benefit, but also the cost of using this aggressive man-to-man pressing system, especially if you're using players like Malacia defending in those 1v1s, who after returning from that long injury just didn't look comfortable defending in that type of space. So let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section below. You can sign up to the Patreon to get access to the in-game analysis group chat, and I will be releasing more analysis videos on this game, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell for that.